Everybody, good night, good day. I am on the road. My name is Vincent Faney, aka Vinsanity. I have a show at the Eugene Community Station. My show is Vinsanity Unplugged. I have a YouTube channel also called Vinsanity Unplugged. As I'm on the road doing podcasts, meeting extremely incredible people, I am also delving and interviewing or researching people who have the most unusual ideas, the most innovative ideas. And Nick Hanauer is a guy who's worth about $500 million. He's born into a little bit of wealth, but he's a go-getter. He's been involved with about one way or another about 30 companies. He's either started up a company, either got into a company, either funded a company, sold companies, ran companies, about 30 companies. And he'll tell you, that his good fortune of becoming rich was that he was born into it was good fortune. It was circumstance. It was a bit of luck. He born into a family that had some money. They had a business, and he learned, from early childhood how to be involved with business. And he'll tell you, he just tells people, I'm not smarter than anybody else. There's always the thing that people think that rich people are smarter or better or work harder and longer. And he says, I'm no smarter than anyone else. And I certainly don't work harder, but I get paid a lot more than what I'm worth. That's what he tells people. He says the only thing he has going for him is an intuition of where things are going to go, new innovations, where trends. He has an innovation if something's going to become a trend or if it's going to work out, and then he goes with it. And so he's been very successful. And the thing is that he basically says that, he's a plutocrat. He's in the top 0.01%, not the top 2%, not the top 1, but the top 0.01%. $500 million. And he's a sweet guy. He's got some good ideas, it seems like. It sounds compelling. It goes against a lot of the free market, laissez-faire, Austrian Chicago School of Economics. I wonder what Milton Friedman would say. I'd love to hear him debate Thomas Sowell. Because he's chatting about how, middle-class workers should get paid more. And he cites the facts, or he cites certain statistics that if you pay employees more, that's more money that goes into the economy. That's more things that will be sold, more things that will be produced. It will produce more, he says, produce more employment. So in his mind, his way of thinking, and he has evidence, he claims, that if you pay your employees more, if companies just did that, then that's more money in the economy. That's more money that people would buy, like with Ford. Ford created a company. He had workers that would produce the Model T and so forth. Instead of paying them $1 an hour, he paid them beyond what other companies were paying. Henry Ford paid his people $5 a day. And the fact of the matter is that allowed them to buy the cars that they were building and buy other things. And so that's the Henry Ford model. And Nick is claiming that works. Pay people more, they purchase more things in the economy. And the fact of the matter is that, those businesses see the more of the demand, more things being paid. So they have to step up production. By stepping up, because they have to step up production, they had to hire more people. And, I wish that was true. I'm not going to argue against that. I think, I love to see that. It sounds like a good possibility. I'm all for people getting paid more. I'm all for people having a living wage, or, and then some. But I have doubts. And the reason why I have doubts is because I've worked with people who make good money. And I've seen it time and again. You got somebody goes into debt, and then they get more money, and then maybe they might be lucky enough to get a person to help them with their finances and pay off their debt, and then they go wild again, and they go dead again with a greater income. Most people suck at their own personal finances. They just want more than they have. And so my whole thing is that, well, what do you do when you pay all these people more money, more of a living wage, and these people, you can't control their spending. They start spending more, and they get themselves in financial debt, and so therefore those people are poor again because they're in financial debt. And the biggest thing, the biggest obstacle, which is something that I'm trying to change and fight, is affordable housing. There's limited inventory. There's artificially low inventory. You have a lot of people. The vacancy rates are like next to nothing. So therefore, a landlord could charge a lot of rent compared to what the mortgage may be. I mean, for some people, unless they just bought the house recently. So you got a lot of landlords now who are making pretty good money because they could, we can't discount the years that they weren't making that good of money. It really just depends. Also, this guy talks about how all businesses should pay their employers more or the employees more. But, all things aren't equal. If I go into business, I have low cash reserves. I can't negotiate a great deal. I can't take the risk that companies or people have more money. So in the short term, I may end up, my overhead may be more because my lease may be higher. I may be spending more each month for rent or lease and overhead. I may not have the cash reserves or a startup to pay my employees the same money that my competitors are paying. So I say, okay, I can't compete with these other guys on one way, so I have to pay less wages. And so, of course, when you pay less wages, unfortunately, you're getting the bottom of the barrel, or you're trying to get the best deal, but you get people who just who are willing to work for less wages for a variety of reasons, and you hope things work out. And thereby, you're hoping to be able to compete with your competitors by offering the same products or services for less money. It's a tough world out there. And my only one of my few reservations, I have a couple reservations, is that no government agency. Now, I like to see what Nick do his gig. I like to see companies pay people more money, despite their inclinations to overspending and so forth, if the government isn't involved, because the government just can't do everything. Because for it to work, every company, there would have to be government control prices, price freeze, or prices on all services and goods, and government control wages. Now, Nixon tried that. He tried one, it was a disaster. He implemented the other in conjunction with, it was worse. And you can't, the government's never fluid enough to, because, things change. They're not fluid enough to keep up with the business's day-to-day, month-to-month changing demands. And only a person in charge of his own business can move left or right, up or down, backwards, forwards, in the direction he needs for his company. So I don't know. I want to talk to Nick one day, and I want to see how this all pans out. I hope it's true, and I hope we can do this without government, because government never, ever, government is so, my God, if you got government involved, they'd mess it up. And of course, political favors, business favors, write-offs, whatever, would go to the highest bidder. And that would become corporate cronyism once again. So I have my doubts, but I have hopes, because, Nick is telling me what I want to hear. What do I want to hear? I want to hear that all people who work are getting paid a wage that would keep them out of crushing poverty. But as Thomas Sowell says, there's no solutions. There's no really clean-cut solutions to make everybody happy. There's only trade-offs. And so, in closing, I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments, give me some constructive criticism, give me your intellectual insights. All comments are welcome. Thank you very much.